Okay, here we go. All right, folks, first topic is compound interest. So what I did here is I said, let's assume that after a month you had $100, and then let's say you got 8% interest. That means you would get $8. So now I'm at $108. But listen carefully. What if I take 8% of 108? What's going to be true about the money that I'm adding for the next month? It's going to be what compared to my previous? Let's say that again. So if I am taking 8% of 100, I get $8 and I add that. So I've added $8 here. So plus $8. Yeah, but it's going to be more because now I'm taking 8% of a bigger number. So now it's actually going to be plus $8.64. And now I'm taking 8% of a bigger number, which is going to be more than that amount. So by the time I get here, notice that from 233, that's a really big jump there. So this is the graph of compound interest. It's exponential, but you can see that your money is not growing linearly. You actually are getting more money. That's why it has that curve. So what would I write down in my notes? I would say compound interest 8%, and then just kind of draw a graph showing, hey, I know that that's going to be a curved graph. What's the downside of this?
When it comes to debt.
Yep, when it comes to debt. Credit card interest is 25%, and so let's say it can be 20 to 25%. So let's say I owe $1,000, take 25% of that, then my debt grows. Now you're taking 25% of that bigger number, that grows. 25% of a huge number, you can see that it becomes problematic.
That's why you don't get credit cards.
Or that's why you pay credit cards off.
Mm-hmm. Money.
Yeah, if you're not going to be good with money, do not get a credit card.
Never.
All right, next thing I want you to write down is what we were just talking about. If you're losing 8%, you can see that it's got this kind of curved type graph. And so the first one we lost $8, but because we have a smaller number here, taking 8%, that's going to be smaller. So if you're losing 8%, you're taking 8% of a smaller number as you keep going. All right, moving forward past this. You can see that this question is almost exactly like the one on your homework, and so you don't have to write this down. Let's just talk about it, and then your practice one will just go straight to the homework. I know it's a lot of words. Okay, here we go. Each of the following graphs represents the amount of money in your bank account. At the right of each of your graphs, so like I have to label this one as maybe A, that one is maybe B, that one's maybe C. So it wants me to label each graph with the letter of the description that best fits the graph. Okay, think about A. Your money increased by a steady percent during the time. So this is the 8%. Like during this time you get 8%, and then you get another 8%, and then you get another 8%. So that is going to be this one. It's A. So this is the example of when you're getting 8%. And the reason it's curved is because you're taking 8% of a bigger number each time. Okay, so that's A. B, your amount of money stayed constant during the time period, meaning if your bank account was at $500, it stayed at $500. How would you describe that line here?
Straight.
Yep, the straight one. Straight and flat. So there's my B. C, your money decreased by the same amount each day. That is not this case right here. Okay, here we were taking an 8% of each, but when it's saying the same amount, it would be like doing -8, -8, -8, and staying the same. So that would be a linear function. Okay, so that would be this one right here if we decrease by the same amount each time. So that would be my C. For D, your money increased rapidly at first, but then decreased. That one's pretty obvious. Which one do you think that is? Yeah, the one that went increased rapidly and then decreased. So that one there would be, what letter am I on? D. Okay, and the last one said your money decreased by a steady percent. That was like the example of losing 8% on a monthly or daily basis. And so that would be this graph right here. It's got a little curve to it. So there's my key. All right, go ahead and look at your homework 4 and go ahead and do the first one. I put it at a different order. Whoa, I didn't do this on purpose, but it was exactly A, B, C, D, E.
I know, I just copied the board.
Do you want me to go over this problem? Or do we feel comfortable with it? Feel okay? So this is a situation where your money increases and then decreases. B would be an example where you have the same percentage. Okay, C would be an example where your money stays the same.
I got A, C, D.
Yeah, me too.
Which one?
I got
D and E switch.
D and E switch?
Yeah.
Let me take a look at that. So for D, your money decreased by the same amount each day. Yeah, that should be this one that goes straight down linear. Good. And then E is the one with the slight curve. Good. Perfect. All right, moving forward. That's not a hard topic, I don't think. Not bad. All right, next you're gonna take out your notes that I gave you. So it should look like Piecewise functions notes. Okay. This would be our hard topic of the day. What we're aiming to do is get a graph with 3 parts to it, because you can see in this graph we have 3. So here's what I want to do. I want to get this one done first. At x equals 4, my y value is 6. So again, at x equals 4, my y value is 6. So let's go ahead and let's plot that point. All right, next we have when x is less than 4, we're going to plug into that graph. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to have this, x, y, and we're going to do it for x minus 3 squared. And so this is saying less than 4, so I would probably plug in 4, but then keep an open circle on it. And I'll explain what I mean by that in a second. And then this is again saying less than 4, so I need to choose numbers that are less than 4. We'll go with 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, so now we're going to plug those numbers, because we're only talking about being less than 4. We're going to plug them into the graph. So help me with this, please. Plugging 4 in, I get 4 minus 3, which is what?
1.
Square it?
1.
Perfect. 3 minus 3 is
0.
Square it?
1.
0 times 0 is 0. 2 minus 3. Negative 1 squared is?
1.
Positive 1. What's a 1 minus 3?
-2.
Square -2, please.
Positive 4.
Positive 4. And we'll do this last one here. 0 minus 3 is -3. And what do I get when I square -3? 9. Okay, now, listen carefully, okay? Everyone's listening. This says less than 4, so I could have 3.99999. So I am going to plot the point 41, but I'm going to put an open circle on it because I don't have equal to, it's just less than, so that's why I have the open. And now I'm going to graph the point 30. 1, 2, 3. I'll graph the point 2, 1. That kind of looks cool. And 0, 9 slightly off my graph, but you can still do it. So does anyone see what this is going to be? It's half of a what? Parabola. Okay. So now for my next table, I have x is greater than 4. So I'm going to create a new table, x is greater than 4, and I'm going to have the equation -3. So -3 is my equation. I'm going to have x and y. So again, x is going to be greater than 4, so I'm going to start with 4, but I'll have an open circle on it like I did here. And then what are some numbers that are bigger than 4? 5, 6, etc. Okay, this equation says, again, if you're not listening, make sure you're listening, this is a weird one, that my y values are always -3. So I'm just going to put a -3 and a -3 and a -3 here. In other words, it's a flat line. Okay, so let's just go ahead and graph these points. I've got the point 4, -3, and I'm going to put an open circle because that says greater than, it doesn't say equal. And then all of them are going to stay at the point 5 -3, 6 -3. I'm just going to draw that line horizontally. And we're done. That is our piecewise function. Not super peaceful though. Love them or hate them?
It's really hard.
It's okay.
Let's do some more. Okay, here we go. Number 2. So for number 2, let's start with the easy problem. This says when x is -2, my y value is also -2. So I have the coordinate -2, -2, and I'm going to put a solid point there. Okay, now I'm going to create a table for this top equation. So I'm going to have x plus 3 squared. For x is less than -2. So I'm going to start with -2, even though I'm going to put an open circle on it. I do need to know where it is. But what are numbers that are less than a -2? Yep, -3, -4, -5. Okay, I want you to try this on your own. I want you to plug in these numbers into here and then spit out your y value. So go ahead and try that. Your answers check with mine. I got 1, 0, 1, 4.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're just gonna graph that. And what do I have to make sure with my point -2, 1? It's an open circle because that is less than. All right, so I'm gonna have -2, 1, open. And again, you get half of a quadratic or a parabola. Now this one's a little bit different than the last one. We don't have a line for the last one. We have a linear function. So we should have some sort of a line either going down or up coming from this because this is a line. So now I take this one, the bottom equation. I'm going to create a new table for that. Negative x plus 2. And now you're saying numbers bigger than negative 2. Well, I still include my minus 2, but what's number bigger than minus 2?
1.
Yep, and also
0.
0, 1, 2. Okay, so now we're taking these numbers and plugging into this equation, the negative x plus 2. So go ahead and try to fill that in. You should see a pattern. Linear will change by the same amount each time.
Wait, how did you get 4 when you added negative
It's negative
2 to negative
You
2?
multiply the negative and then it's positive 2 and then you add it to 2 and it's 4.
You can also think of it as the opposite of my x plus the 2. So the opposite of a minus 2 is a positive 2, plus 2 is 4. But like they were saying, you have a negative of a negative 2, because I'm plugging that in, plus 2. Gives me a positive 2 plus 2 is 4.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and graph that. Again, what do I do with this coordinate right here, the minus 2, 4? I keep it, what type of circle? Open, yep, so negative 2, 4. It's going to be here.
Oh my gosh.
And I'll have this point. And you can already see the pattern. It's just going to be a line going straight down. You know what the graph looks like with the slope of minus 1. And now we're done.
And how would that be helpful?
It's helpful for it's helpful for your future. No, it's helpful because when you have particular functions being defined at certain values. So you might say something like your salary, if you've worked less than 20 hours a week, might be for a certain function. But then after you get overtime, your salary might be something different. So you're saying if you've worked less than blank hours, you're getting this payment. If you're working more than that, you're getting that. It might work for revenue. If you're saying if we make less than 45 items, what's our profit going to be? But if we make over 100, what's our profit going to be? So sometimes there are different equations for different intervals. How do we feel about doing one more and then moving forward? One more, okay. All right, number 3. Like I said, I like to start in the middle when it gives you that exact point. That's really helpful, I think. So here I've got when x is minus 4, my y is negative 3. So when my x is minus 4, my y is negative 3. And that is a filled in circle because it says equal. Now this is saying when x is less than minus 4, I'm at 6. So when x is less than minus 4, my y value is always 6. So I'm going to put the 6 for everything. So let's go ahead and graph those. And again, my first is always going to be open, and it looks like I'm just going to have all of these values over here. All right, and then we've got x plus 2 for the last one. And here we're talking about being greater than minus 4, so that'd be numbers like minus 4, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0. And now I'm plugging these into my equation, so I'm just adding 2 to all of these, so that gives me a minus 2. 0, 1, 2. Okay, again, my first coordinate, I'm always going to have an open circle because of that greater than symbol. So I graph my first point at minus 4, minus 2. some reason that came out really ugly.
It's sweet too.
Yeah. Alright. You guys wanna take a second to try to do the problems on your homework?
Yes.
Okay. Wish I could pause the video.
Just press pause.
There's no pause.
Just stop
Should
recording
be
the
live.
first few minutes.
But then I have to do that in Final Cut, and that's like annoying. Okay, when I come back and do this, it means come back, but fast forward for the rest of this.
Okay. Start doing
Stand up right there and jump and trick them.
¿Quieres ir a la escuela? ¿Quieres ir a la escuela? Se me hace como que venía.
Mira todos lados. Actually, right there. Over here today.
I want to see it right there. What's la nieve de arriba, güey?
Yeah, I guess it could be. Well, acá arriba sí. Oh, yeah, no. You will hear they're like black. Starts snowing like last year.
That's bigger.
Last year, one time it starts snowing. It never snowed. You know the power.
Access speed less than -5.
-4 still from -5.
Yes, me.
Stop. Stop.
What did you do?
I was going the wrong way. My parabola was going downwards. I don't know if I should do math next try, that'd be so bad. We all know I'm not gonna do anything with math.
Well, if you drop this, you should do Math 101.
If what?
You drop this, you should do Math 101.
I'm doing math 101.
Because it's just so interesting.
What is it?
Not that I'm saying this isn't.
Math 101 is a lot more useful.
I'm
So it's super
debating.
fun. I lost stuff.
I mean, I'm okay at math.
I lost.
My brain just moves too fast.
I lost $250,000.
Wow, that's really bad.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what, Carter, if you actually had kept that money in the stock market and you looked at it today, you'd be up.
I'm not sure. Wait, when is math 101?
Wait, is the stock market
Next
going up?
trimester, second period.
Is the stock market price going up?
It went up more today, percentage-wise, than I ever have since 2020.
Okay, so
Today's a massive, it's a really high market day. So if your family seems to be in a really good mood, it's because the stock market's up. Or they love you.
I think the stock is right.
Yeah.
But they don't invest.
That's
No, my papa's dying. Look at them. You know the Borealis.
Oh, I have to do US history.
Yeah. You have my hammer.
Sorry, Madison, can't do it.
There's not another period for that?
No, I have to do US history.
So fun.
But there's multiple periods of that.
But then you'd have to drop PE.
I don't wanna drop key.
Well, I see
Sorry,
where
miss.
her priorities
Well, I think there
lie.
might be US history for
Do
30
you want to
periods,
be
since you're
in
not too
physical
good.
education, or do you want to be in financially good shape for the rest of your life?
I think physical. I think physical.
Math 101.
I think physical.
I think I'd like to be physically in good shape
You
too.
go to heart attack?
What about the games?
Well, I mean, you get a heart attack.
I think
So
I'd rather
we're not-
be in physically good shape
I
than
think it's
financially.
You're financially stable.
I don't wanna be 400 pounds with the money.
Do you need financially stable to get on steroids, right?
Yeah, that's how that works.
Miss, I think I'd rather be in good shape with low money than bad shape with a lot of money.
Really? But then you
Okay,
can use
but
that
then think about
and
it,
then
if you
can
have
use
a
that
lot of
money to
money,
gain
then you have
No,
enough money
because
to
if
keep
I'm
yourself in good
400
shape.
pounds with money,
Wait,
am I gonna get plastic
You,
surgery?
you're not gonna, you think you're gonna get a
Why,
foreign
you don't get plastic surgery.
Like,
That's not for that.
It's not lipo surgery.
plastic surgery.
It's not plastic surgery.
Alright folks, we're gonna go one more minute on this. You can check your answers with
So bad
mine.
for you. I know. That's why I'm nope. Can you get my pencil?
I can't.
Miss, did you jump for them?
No.
I know what-
No, I'm not started yet. I'm just putting the answers up for those who wanna see it.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
We put Piecewise shape and you're supposed to go right.
You get more at way.
I like to annoy
But you're better at computer, and you don't need to put Piecewise shape or find it. It's still saying
How about you be the hacker from the heights?
no,
Not saying that's
you should do it.
Miss, when's your birthday again?
February 21st.
Huh?
February 21st.
No.
My calendar.
I mean, that can work. You don't need to
That's
do
nice
like,
of you.
you can do like electronic transfer.
Ooh, I would not think that.
You store like 1 cent.
Alright, 30 more seconds and then we're gonna start. I do have the answers up here if you wanna take a quick picture with your phone for record.
Actually, I said for good plan. You still 1 cent for every person from one transfer.
Oh my god, there's.
That's much money you spend when you make 1 cent?
From every single person as well?
Yeah, or like you know those big bags.
Yeah.
So there's like bullet like 20, is it 20,000 people getting transfers?
Oh, that's right.
How much money you get in like one day? You for one penny you still for everyone.
You're wearing your Alex.
I'm like, no.
Alright folks, we're gonna move forward. Okay, let's start. Let me make this a little bit bigger.
But even if coffee.
Alright, boys, calm down.
Finish up your problem, please.
I'm thinking about this. Get up and try.
You need to get your PowerPoint skills from Mrs. Sorensen.
Yeah.
I am really good at PowerPoint.
Oh, you're not?
Yes, I am.
No.
I believe in myself.
Alright, so next up is finding the domain and range once you're done. So your question on your final will say, graph the piecewise function and then find the domain and range. So the domain is very easy on this example right here. So your domain is all your x values. Okay, everyone look on the board for a second. Everyone look. This arrow is going up and to the left, but it's going to the left forever. All these points get hit for x's. This point gets hit for an x. This point gets hit, that gets hit, all the way to the right. Everything gets hit for the x's. Our domain is from negative infinity to infinity. Those are my x values. Every x gets hit. However, that is possibly not true for the range, but let's take a look at it. Okay, I go all the way down. All these y values have been hit, all these y values have been hit, and then all these y values all the way up. So this range is also from minus infinity to infinity. It's all about, does each y value get hit? Here, the minus 5 got hit, but even negative 7,000 gets hit. A y value of 0 gets hit here and here. So that's that. Let's make it a little harder. Sorry. Okay. For these next two, let's take a look about our x's. It goes all the way to the left, and it goes all the way to the right. it hits all these X's in between the gap of here. It hits this X right there, it hits that X at that graph, all the X's. So our domain is from negative infinity to infinity. Our range is not. This is our first time where this is going to be different. So, do we hit all the way up there? Yes. Do we hit all the way down there? No. So our range will go to positive infinity because these arrows go all the way up. But where's the lowest y value we hit?
-5.
-5. Right here is the lowest. So we're going to have a -5. And am I going to have a closed bracket or an open? Is that closed because it's filled in?
One that looks like this.
Yeah, closed. Because this point is filled in, we've got a closed bracket. All right, let's take a look at this one. The domain, remember, it's just all the X's. Do we have all the way to the left and all the way to the right?
Yes.
Yep, so negative infinity to infinity. But for my range, be careful. It stops here, but the arrow keeps going down here. So we do get all the way down for my range, but do I get all the way up?
No.
No. So my range is gonna go to negative infinity because I have the arrow going down, but then how far up do I get? +4. The highest y value my graph reaches is 4. And that's gonna be closed in because those are all points. All right, go ahead and flip to problem number 3, and you can try 1 and 2 there, and try to find your domain and your range for that. I think I forgot to jump up and down.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Oopsie.
Oh yeah, I would not take that.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I would not take that. Like,
Stop putting your stuff on me, Angel. Run away.
it just pushes sauce.
Okay, you're trying these 2 problems right here. I'll give you a head start, and then I'll put some answers up so you can check your answers with mine.
Or doing that on the packet.
Oh,
wait, this is the packet.
Yeah, it's just number 3.
Sorry. I brainstormed for today.
You have a nice brain.
Trinity. I have a good brain.
I have never insulted your brain.
There's like being a person in the bank. Me too.
Wait, what?
Okay. I get it, and I've had lots of this.
I do not get it, miss.
Okay, domain is how far left and right you go. See how this arrow goes all the way to the left forever?
So that would be a negative?
That's negative.
Yeah.
And that one goes all the way to the right forever. So that's positive.
So all the X's will get hit here.
And what about range?
Range is lowest to highest. So the lowest we get here is -2. And the highest we get is 6. So it would be from -2
What is that?
Oh, because that arrow, it's gonna be infinity. So, yeah, so it's gonna be from -2 to infinity because that keeps going up forever.
I get it.
And it's gonna be an open -2 because of the open circle here.
Interesting.
I take the high five back. I did it the other way.
Infinity.
30 more seconds. 30 more seconds.
What?
Oh. All right.
No, we both did it wrong.
We're good to go.
Because that one goes
Where's that? I have a question. If someone stole 1 penny from every person like in the bank, will they notice? I don't think it's really notice.
No one's gonna prosecute that. So if I stole a penny,
Yeah, they look at this
But then,
And it's always
you get all the
stupid.
money, you could
Then it adds up. No, that's a common scam.
It'll work the Alexis way.
Thank you, Beverly.
I'm saying it.
Alexis has it.
Alright.
I'm doing it school.
That's what I used to do, I would just watch the videos and do
He went running.
I just
and then he went in the back.
Or that's what I did. Different speed.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, we're restarting. Our last topic of the day, slash maybe second to last, depending on how far we get. This is called composition of functions. So I like to think of this as pregnant people. So what do I mean by that? Well, we'll call this Fran, who is pregnant with their baby Georgina. Okay, so there's something that's going to go inside of another function. So what do I want you to write down? Write down the title of our notes, composition of functions. I also want you to write down this notation, please. These mean the same exact thing. This is saying f composed of g of x. This is also saying f of g of x. This is called composition of functions.
Wait, so did we win the 2 challenges?
And Mrs.
Oh,
Cornbauer's not
Miss.
here today to judge the posters.
I brought you cookies today, but I ate them.
So take
Oh, I got you some chips.
Did
I
you
got
bring
her a
the chips?
mug. What the heck?
Are you
Yeah.
not gonna eat them?
But I'm not gonna eat them.
Okay,
Thanks, they're my favorite.
Florence, you gotta show your video
I think it,
Of what?
I think it is.
So this is extra salty.
Not funny.
Check out my new cat mug. So cute, isn't it? Yeah, remember anything's cute? Yeah, I knew you did.
I got it for her.
Yeah, I know.
20 more seconds to get this down.
Miss,
Also notice 2 more chips.
You're welcome.
Let me see.
Wait, can you go back really quick?
Can you go back? Sorensen. Thank you.
There's gonna be a lot of fog.
Good. All right.
No, I'm not good.
No?
I need the last one best.
Last pass.
okay, you're good.
Why didn't you withdraw earlier?
Alright, I'm good.
I was distracted.
All right. Here we go. First problem. You will like these, I think. Problem A. Focus, y'all. This says f composed of g of x. We're going to take this, we're going to rewrite this as my notation that I prefer, which is this. So there's a baby inside of f, and that baby is g of x.
Yeah, it sounds like something a celebrity would name my kid.
Yeah. Take a second to also write down these 2 functions. We're going to need them written down, please. Okay, I'm going to ask you probably the weirdest question any math teacher's ever asked you. In this case, who's the pregnant person and who's the baby? What letter would be the pregnant person? F. Okay, it's kind of like F has like this baby.
You know, I erase it. Just erase it. Just erase it.
Okay, so we have F is the pregnant person, or I guess we could say woman, and G of X is our inside. It's inside, it's a baby. So we're gonna write P for pregnant and B for baby. Now, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put the baby inside of the pregnant woman. So, circle the baby.
I don't like this analogy.
No, you'll love it. You'll love it.
Trinity loves it.
Okay, now we're gonna take this baby and we're gonna draw an arrow. Everywhere there's an X for the pregnant function, we're gonna put the baby inside of it.
Bye, baby.
Okay, so our answer is gonna be 3 parentheses 2x minus 1 squared minus parentheses 2x minus 1 plus 4. For now, let's just leave it like that. Maybe in the next trimester, I'll have you multiply that through. Okay, now on this problem,
Wait, that's it?
that's it.
You don't solve it?
That's lame.
Do you want to?
No. Miss, can you just show us what it looks like? And then I'll say yes or no.
We would have to take 2x minus 1 and do 2x minus 1 times 2x minus 1 and do FOIL.
Why do you put the whole equation
Then I would
in
have to
X?
put the 3 all the way through. Then I would have to do the minus all the way through, and then we would combine our like terms.
Wait,
Just
why
so
do you put
tedious.
all of G of X in the X for athletics?
Because G of X is inside. It's basically saying let G of X be your X.
Okay.
If that makes sense. All right, folks, come back to me. You're doing a great job today. I know it's your Friday, so this is a lot of math on a Friday, but we're going to rewrite this as f of x, and I haven't changed the functions. I just wanted to rewrite them because in this example, what's happened?
The F and the G are switched.
They're switched. And so I do like to rewrite this as G of f of x. In this case, which letter is pregnant?
The baby.
The baby's not pregnant. That
Yes, it is.
G is pregnant. So now G is pregnant,
It's the G was baby.
and f of x is my baby.
So baby's pregnant.
What is the element?
Okay, so now we circle the baby, and we're going to draw an arrow from our baby. We're going to put it inside of our pregnant function wherever we see an x. So this is going to be 2 times parentheses 3x squared minus x plus 4, and then close my parentheses and continue with my function of minus 1. If you want to simplify, you go for it. To simplify, you would just do distributive property
Do we
and then
get extra
combine.
credit if we do that?
Sure.
Okay.
In my mind, I'd be like, wow, they're extra.
Extra.
You're the extra one here, okay?
Would you like to see more of these, or do you want to try doing the practice? One more?
No.
No more.
You're fine.
No more. Here's just kidding.
Get better handwriting then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, did that just close on me?
Yeah, yeah, it did.
It
That's
was
a
a
sign.
sign.
That's a sign.
It is.
Okay, well, it's a sign that maybe we'll do one on the homework.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's scroll down and let's do number 4 and number 1 together.
It's too awkward to say. You're awkward. What's up?
Fine.
All right, folks, give me 30 more seconds, then we'll be done for the day, and you can finish your homework. There is a couple problems you can't do, though, so I was expecting possibly not to get to it today, which is fine. Here, I rewrite this as h of g of n. I'm basically putting it in the same exact order. As I see the h first, I write the h first. So now, which one's the baby? G. It's G. G is inside. So I'm going to circle my G. And I'm going to put it inside of H. So everywhere I see an N, which is the same thing as an X, I draw my arrow. So I'm going to get a negative 2 parentheses n cubed minus 5, close my parentheses, and then continue with my H function, which is minus 3. How do we feel about that?
Pretty good.
Okay, you guys did a great job today. I know it's a lot for today. So, looking at your homework, you will not be able to do anything past this one right here. So please do not do problem number 5 yet. Okay, so go ahead and you may work on this ta-ta for now.